Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Health Breakdown. Thank you for allowing me a few moments of your precious time. As a heart surgeon with over 2 decades of experience, thousands of operations, hundreds of hours in the operating room, and far too many difficult conversations with families, I'm not here today to talk about stents, bypasses, or pacemakers. I'm here to talk about something far more important, and I am begging, yes, begging every senior listening to me today to stop this one deadly habit. Excessive sitting is one of the most overlooked threats to heart health, especially among seniors. While it may seem harmless, sitting for extended periods can be just as dangerous as smoking when it comes to cardiovascular disease. This comparison might sound dramatic, but it's backed by decades of medical research. In fact, numerous studies have shown that a sedentary lifestyle significantly increases the risk of heart attacks, strokes, and premature death. The problem lies not just in the act of sitting, but in the overall lack of movement that often accompanies it. For many seniors, especially those in retirement, daily routines revolve around extended periods of sitting, whether watching television, reading, browsing the internet, or simply resting. Over time, this inactivity takes a heavy toll on the body. When we sit for hours without moving, our blood flow slows down, particularly in the lower extremities. This creates the perfect environment for blood clots to form, increasing the likelihood of a deep vein thrombosis or even a pulmonary embolism. At the same time, muscles, including the heart, become deconditioned. Your heart is a muscle that thrives on activity. It needs regular stimulation through physical movement to stay strong and efficient. Without it, the heart weakens, the arteries become less flexible, and blood pressure begins to rise. Furthermore, prolonged sitting disrupts the body's ability to manage blood sugar and cholesterol levels. It slows down the metabolism, which in turn makes it harder for the body to regulate insulin, leading to an increased risk of type 2 diabetes, a major risk factor for heart disease. Even if a person eats a healthy diet and avoids smoking, sitting too much can still lead to weight gain and visceral fat accumulation, which contributes to atherosclerosis, the hardening of the arteries. Another insidious effect of excessive sitting is that it becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. The less you move, the more fatigued you feel, and the more fatigued you feel, the less likely you are to move. Over time, this leads to reduced muscle mass, poor balance, joint stiffness, and even cognitive decline, all of which can severely limit independence and quality of life. And once mobility is lost, the chance of recovering it becomes increasingly slim. What makes this issue particularly alarming is that many seniors don't realize the severity of the risk. Sitting feels natural, relaxing, and often necessary due to age-related fatigue or pain. But the truth is, without some form of daily physical activity, the body begins to deteriorate in ways that are not immediately noticeable but deeply dangerous. That's why heart specialists are urgently calling attention to this habit. Excessive sitting doesn't feel deadly, but it silently undermines cardiovascular health every single day. And unless it's addressed through regular, intentional movement, the damage can become irreversible. The message is simple but urgent. The chair may feel safe, but staying in it for too long is slowly and silently killing the heart. Sitting for long periods each day has become a common part of life, especially for seniors, but few realize the serious health risks it poses. When someone spends hours seated, whether watching television, reading, or simply resting, the body enters a state of physical inactivity that disrupts essential biological functions. The human body was designed for motion, and when that motion stops, a cascade of health issues begins to develop. These issues are not minor or isolated. They are linked to some of the most serious chronic diseases, particularly those affecting the heart and circulatory system. One of the immediate effects of prolonged sitting is poor circulation. When you're seated for extended periods, blood tends to pool in the lower body, which can lead to swelling in the legs and ankles. Over time, this restricted blood flow can contribute to the formation of dangerous blood clots, including deep vein thrombosis (DVT), which can be life-threatening if a clot travels to the lungs or heart. Moreover, slow circulation stresses the heart, which has to work harder to pump blood effectively throughout the body. Sitting too much also contributes to a slower metabolism. When you are physically inactive, your muscles, including the large muscles in your legs and back, are not engaged. This leads to decreased calorie burning and makes it more difficult for your body to regulate blood sugar levels and process fats efficiently. As a result, blood sugar spikes more easily, increasing the risk of developing insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. At the same time, fat starts to accumulate in the body, particularly around the abdomen, where it surrounds vital organs. This visceral fat is closely linked to an increased risk of heart disease, stroke, and metabolic syndrome. Additionally, prolonged sitting is associated with elevated blood pressure and unhealthy cholesterol levels. Lack of movement causes changes in the way the body manages lipids, often leading to lower levels of HDL, the good cholesterol, and higher levels of LDL, the bad cholesterol. Over time, these changes contribute to the buildup of plaque in the arteries, which can lead to atherosclerosis, a hardening and narrowing of the arteries that increases the risk of heart attacks and strokes. What makes this even more concerning is that these risks persist even in people who are otherwise healthy. You could eat a balanced diet, avoid smoking, and maintain a healthy weight, but if you sit for the majority of your day, you're still placing your health at risk. Movement is not optional, it's a fundamental requirement for your body's systems to function properly. The danger lies in the subtlety of the damage. Unlike a sudden illness, the effects of prolonged sitting develop slowly and quietly. You don't feel your arteries clogging or your metabolism slowing. But inside your body, the harm is very real and often goes unnoticed until it becomes a serious medical problem. Recognizing the health risks associated with sitting is the first step toward preventing them. Many seniors believe that if they eat well, don't smoke, and take their medications, they're doing everything they need to stay healthy. And while those habits are incredibly important, they don't tell the whole story, especially when it comes to heart health. The reality is that even seniors who appear healthy on the outside are still at serious risk if they live a sedentary lifestyle. You might feel fine, your lab work might come back normal, but if you're spending the majority of your day sitting down, the hidden risks to your cardiovascular system continue to build. As a heart surgeon, I've seen this pattern too many times to ignore. A patient in their late 60s or 70s walks into the office with no major complaints. They don't smoke, they eat relatively clean, and they've never had a major heart issue. But they mention that they're retired now, and most of their day is spent in front of the TV or sitting in a recliner. No more walking to work, no more household chores, and very little time spent on their feet. These are the patients who often surprise their families and themselves when they end up in the emergency room with a heart attack or severe cardiovascular complications. The problem is that heart disease can develop silently over time. It doesn't always present obvious symptoms in its early stages. Just because you feel fine doesn't mean your arteries are. A sedentary lifestyle weakens the heart muscle, promotes inflammation, and leads to the accumulation of plaque in the arteries, all without causing noticeable pain or discomfort at first. That's why so many healthy seniors are caught off guard when they receive a diagnosis of coronary artery disease, congestive heart failure, or hypertension. Another issue is that seniors often underestimate how much movement they've lost over the years. They may have been active in their 40s and 50s, but once they retire or develop minor joint pain, their physical activity can decline dramatically without them even realizing it. Simple routines like walking to the store, taking stairs, or gardening may no longer be part of daily life. What replaces them? Hours of sitting day after day, and unfortunately, regular exercise once or twice a week is not enough to counteract this pattern. It's the total amount of sitting time, spread across the day, that matters most. Even those who go to the gym for 30 minutes a few times a week are still at risk if they're otherwise inactive the rest of the time. That's why movement needs to be integrated throughout the day. Frequent standing, stretching, walking, and engaging in light activity are all critical. The takeaway is clear. Good health isn't just about what you eat or what you avoid. It's also about what you do, how often you move, how long you sit, and how consistently you engage your body. Even if you feel healthy today, don't take your heart for granted. One of the biggest misconceptions about improving heart health and staying active, especially among seniors, is the belief that movement must be intense or exhausting to make a difference. This mistaken idea often discourages people from doing anything at all. They think if they're not lifting weights, running, or doing an intense workout class, it's not worth the effort. But that couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is that even small, gentle movements can have a profound impact on your cardiovascular health, your overall fitness, and your quality of life. The human body thrives on consistent, moderate activity. You don't need to train like an athlete to support a healthy heart. You just need to keep moving throughout the day. Light physical activity helps stimulate circulation, regulate blood sugar, maintain muscle tone, and improve balance. Even simple tasks like walking around the house, stretching your arms, or doing light chores contribute to better health when done regularly. For seniors especially, movement should be accessible and sustainable. It's not about pushing limits, it's about maintaining function, independence, and vitality. Something as simple as standing up every 30 minutes, walking around the room, or doing a few leg lifts while seated can reduce the harmful effects of prolonged sitting. These movements engage your muscles, increase your heart rate slightly, and keep your joints from stiffening. They may not leave you sweating, but they still matter. There are countless ways to incorporate gentle movement into your daily routine. You might try going for a short walk in the morning or after meals, practicing a few minutes of Tai Chi, or doing chair exercises while watching television. Stretching can be done at any time of the day and helps improve flexibility and circulation. Gardening, dancing to music, or even standing while doing tasks like folding laundry or talking on the phone all count as physical activity. The key is consistency. Doing a little every day is more beneficial than doing a lot once in a while. Your heart and muscles respond best to regular use. In fact, research shows that breaking up long periods of sitting with even just a few minutes of light movement can significantly lower your risk of cardiovascular disease and improve your metabolic health. Equally important is the mental shift that comes from moving more often. Regular movement boosts your mood, reduces anxiety, and increases your energy levels. It gives you a greater sense of control over your well-being and helps prevent the downward spiral of inactivity leading to weakness, frailty, and dependence. So, don't let the idea of exercise intimidate you. Movement does not have to be intense, painful, or exhausting to be effective. Gentle, frequent activity is powerful medicine. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every step, every stretch, every moment you choose to move is a step toward a stronger heart and a longer, more vibrant life. The time to take action is not tomorrow, not next week, but right now because your heart depends on it. Heart disease doesn't wait for convenience, and the damage from a sedentary lifestyle doesn't give warnings until it's already well underway. The good news is, it's never too late to make meaningful changes. Even small adjustments to your daily routine can dramatically reduce your risk of heart-related complications and improve your overall health. But those changes need to start now. Far too many seniors fall into the trap of thinking that slowing down is an unavoidable part of aging. While it's true that our bodies change as we get older, becoming inactive is not an inevitable or healthy part of that process. In fact, choosing to sit for most of the day accelerates decline. Muscles weaken, bones become brittle, balance deteriorates, and most importantly, the heart, arguably the most vital muscle in the body, loses its strength and efficiency when it's not regularly challenged. Taking action doesn't mean transforming your entire life overnight. It begins with awareness and small, intentional steps. Something as simple as setting a reminder to stand up and move every 30 minutes can make a difference. Swapping 10 minutes of TV time for a short walk, stretching before bed, or using a pedometer to track your steps are all easy ways to start. The goal isn't to become a fitness expert. It's to keep your heart and body engaged on a daily basis. Remember, inactivity is one of the most controllable risk factors for heart disease. You can't change your age or genetics, but you can change how much you move. You have the power to protect your heart from weakening. You have the ability to keep your body flexible and your circulation strong. But none of that will happen unless you decide that your health is worth the effort and make the commitment to act. Waiting for a crisis before taking your health seriously is a dangerous gamble. Many people don't realize they have a heart problem until they're in the emergency room with chest pain, shortness of breath, or worse. At that point, options become limited, and recovery becomes much harder. Prevention, on the other hand, is far more effective, and it starts with movement. Every action you take today contributes to a healthier tomorrow. Think of it as an investment. Just a few minutes of movement now can add days, months, even years to your life. It can mean the difference between living independently and needing constant care. It can mean watching your grandchildren grow up instead of spending years in and out of hospitals. So don't wait. Don't dismiss this message as something you'll get to later. Your heart is working for you every second of every day. The least you can do is return the favor. Stand up, take a step, stretch, breathe, and move. The life you save by doing so may very well be your own.